Since 2016, I've followed the cast of Netflix's Stranger Things through its host of mysteries, action, drama, and horror. It's one of my personal favorite shows, and it's only cemented its place further after it re-entered the public eye hugely starting with the release of Season 4. A few years later, I naturally decided to share this story I held so dear with my co-host, who also happens to be my partner, Ren. As we watched, they realized, and I remembered, just how much we connect with and relate to the cast of this show. We felt seen by this show. After much discussion, we connected some dots and realized Stranger Things has multiple characters among its cast that, unintentionally or otherwise, can be read as autistic.
Either way, representation is an important thing, and good representation can be pretty rare. We argue that Stranger Things is a host to a few examples of what we consider meaningful, good representation. We were surprised to discover, however, that apart from the occasional headcanon here and there among the fandom, there was a significant lack of discussion about the topic. So let's talk about it. Before we analyze, let's establish the lens we'll be examining through. We will be primarily referencing the diagnostic criteria listed in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Here is a brief as possible, bear with us, breakdown based on what we read.
Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, is a complex neurodevelopmental condition. Section A of the DSM-5's diagnostic criteria states that it is characterized by persistent deficits in social communication and social interaction across multiple contexts, and going on to list various ways that this may manifest. Deficits in social emotional reciprocity, abnormal social approach, failure to respond to social cues, abnormalities in eye contact and body language, deficits in developing, maintaining, and understanding relationships, difficulties adapting behavior to social contexts, and difficulty engaging with or lack of interest in peers.
Section B states that autism is characterized by restricted, repetitive patterns of behavior, interest, or activities. This section list includes the following: repetitive motor movements, use of objects, or speech. Examples include lining up toys, fidgeting objects, and echolalia. Insistence on sameness, rigid routines, or ritualistic behaviors. Examples include difficulties with transitions, aversion to change, and eating the same food daily or frequently. Abnormally intense fixated interests. Unique relationship with sensory input, seeking or avoidant. Examples include sensitivity or difference to temperatures, as well as adverse responses to sounds, textures, or other sensations. Further sections state symptoms must be present in the early developmental period, but may not become apparent until social demands and expectations exceed one's capacity. Masking may also obscure symptoms on the surface. Additionally, symptoms are described as causing clinically significant impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of current functioning.
Of course, there are other facets that may not be explicitly covered just within this criteria. We will also bring these to light whenever they come up throughout our analysis. With that being said, thanks for sticking with us. Now that we've laid everything out on the definitional level, you may or may not have already made a few connections among the cast of Stranger Things. Let's take a look at them in action. The characters we've had our eyes on in terms of autism representation, in the order that we'll be covering them, are Robin Buckley, Will Byers, Eleven, and to some of your surprise, Henry Creel. Robin is perhaps the character subject to the most fan interpretation as autistic, so we'll discuss her first as something of a primer for some of our later subjects. She self-admittedly struggles socially, as she points out in Season 4.
You don't know me very well. I don't really have a filter or a strong grasp of social cues. Okay.
This is reiterated in a somewhat heavy-handed manner by clear instances of missing social cues in Season 5, with some moments between her and Joyce.
Aren't there any backup fuses or something? Yeah, in storage, I think so. I mean, I hope so, right? Oh, you'd like me to go get them? Yeah, right. Of course. I am totally on it.
She has some trouble expressing herself, being prone to oversharing or going on tangents, being unable to read the room sometimes, so to speak.
But I'm having this problem where it's like I should stop talking. Then I guess I get nervous and the words, they keep spilling out, and it's like my brain is moving faster than my mouth, or rather my mouth is moving faster than my brain can, and I'm doing it right now, aren't I?
She's also generally characterized as blunt and socially awkward by others, especially when interacting with people her own age, namely her peers Nancy and Steve. Also, in her quest with Nancy, we get a few bits of insight. In this exchange with the warden at Penhurst, we see her struggle to adapt to the social demands of the situation. Additionally, we get an indication of some sensory issues as Robin is dressed outside her comfort zone.
Itchy, I'm itching all over.
She finds Nancy's clothing overwhelmingly uncomfortable, so we can assume her usual manner of dress takes these preferences into account. It's also notable that in Season 5, Robin can be seen fidgeting with her clothing, which is possibly a stim.
There's already something here of substance with the main material, but we wanted to look even deeper. To support our research, we cracked into the official Stranger Things novels, starting with Stranger Things' Rebel Robin. In the book, one of Robin's peers describes her as thinking in puzzles and logic. The book also describes and demonstrates her rigid thinking patterns, including a preoccupation with categorizing people and things. We also get some insight into Robin's love for and interest in languages. We are first shown in Season 3 when she assists the dynamic duo Steve and Dustin in translating the Russians' broadcast. We find out, however, it goes a lot deeper than this. Seriously, it's way more important to her than the main series lets on. Throughout the book, Robin is intensely fixated on and dedicated to her studies of languages. Listening to her tapes is her lifeline for a sizable part of the book, entrenching herself in this interest to keep her bearings and make it through this tumultuous period in her life. She also hopes to apply this knowledge by escaping to Europe due to being ostracized and disillusioned by her schoolmates. Robin dreams of places far away from Hawkins where there could possibly be people like her. She is convinced with her entire soul that Hawkins, in the most general sense, is home to no one else like her. She has a friend group that she is decently acquainted with, but generally lacks meaningful interest in or relationships with her peers for most of the duration of the book. Instead, the book emphasizes how she presents herself as your typical band nerd, while masking her true self and feelings. In addition to coming to grips with her sexuality, Robin's story is one marked by isolation, ostracization, vague but strong feelings of being different and longing to be understood and accepted. It's a story that speaks to the heart of many autistic people.
Holding on forever.
Exactly.
I know.
This has been part 1 of a greater essay on Stranger Things and autism. There will be at least 3 more parts coming down the road, so please stay tuned for that and other video essay and analysis content in the future. We are excited to spark discussion on this topic, as the series itself wraps up its long run with the Season 5 finale. Join us next time for the second subject of our analysis that ties in pretty closely with this one, Will Byers. Thank you for watching, let's hope for a great finale, and Happy New Year!